everyone at TrustSwap. Super fantastic to have your questions that you've provided to us so we can answer in this video AMA. So I'm Adam from Iron, co-founder and CEO here. It's my pleasure to be able to answer some of your questions, and hopefully we'll cover quite a bit of what you're thinking about, what you're looking for, what you want to know about what we're doing, launching our token, working with TrustSwap, and enabling us to get the Internet of Energy network up and running. So the first question, straight out the gates, fantastic question. Do you have a roadmap idea how you will tackle a complex European electricity network where different countries are connected with each other but have different high voltage networks at the same time? Fantastic technical question. Yeah, right. Yes, absolutely. Our roadmap for that is actually the same as our roadmap for the other parts of the world and where we're rolling out and how we're going to deliver Iron. And that is that we start at the edges. We start at the edges and with people's homes, with the devices they already own, with the incoming new solar and other renewable energy devices. And we work collaboratively from the center with other networks and organizations and bring those two things together. So we move in from the edge, move out from the center. And essentially what we're doing through that is we're enabling a very complex system to start quite small and change incrementally until we have a scale that enables those networks to talk to each other. So what I mean by that is essentially the Iron technology goes to the device like a smart plug, or a very cheap smart plug, or an air conditioning controller, or in the future, Wi-Fi enabled dishwashers and washing machines, or solar panels. You can also start just straight away on a mobile app, where the mobile app with Iron on it can then start to see where other Iron devices are nearby and start to coordinate with them. That's the beauty of having a holochain system that we're running on. But the key bit about that is you start small, you make a few changes there, and then more people join and more people join. You start to get a parallel economic system that starts to work in harmony with what the networks need. Because what the networks need, the distribution networks, is they want a nice, flatter use and the supply and demand of electricity. And that's what we do. And so what's important about that is when we have these very complex electrical systems that have only been made to really send energy one direction, we help by enabling all this renewable energy that's coming onto the system to start to balance more effectively and do that from the edges inwards. So really, really good question. Of course, there's lots of complexity here, and we are very open to working with people who are working in the industry. We're already working with people in the industry already on this, but really to work with them to provide solutions on the Internet of Energy Network protocol. It's open source. We're looking for other people to build those solutions on top of it as well. We just want to help facilitate, make that happen. Great question, thank you. So question 2, can you explain how it is possible that the project and the token are built on different networks? Now we're talking about networks here, we're talking about blockchain networks and a holochain network. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so quite simply, Iron is an ERC20 token on Ethereum. Okay, cool. So it's the same as any other ERC20 token that you might be purchasing or using or storing in your wallets. So what that does is it gets you into the system, and so therefore enables you to start staking those tokens, which enables you to open a whole bunch of discounts and credits for your future energy purchase price and energy use value purchases in the future when that ERC20 token goes through our reserves and turns into an Internet of Energy community credit. Now, what that is essentially we've got Iron as a sort of global macro thing. Then we've got these IOEC community credits that are running specifically at local communities, because every place where energy is actually being used is very different. So you have to have a number of different community currencies running on that. What this means is you buy some ERC20 token as Iron, you then stake that, then that staked token then enables you to spin out a bunch of equivalent value community credits to then use in the community for your energy and energy use value. That's important. If you read our white paper, we talk about proof of balance. Proof of balance is our mechanism by which we understand that balancing is happening in the grid. And those kind of nodes that do that get paid for enabling and validating the proof of balance is happening. So in this way, because we've got both a blockchain solution and a holochain solution, at the local level holochain, at the global level, we've got the blockchain, we can start to innovate both up from the blockchain, layer 2, layer 3, with blockchain partners that we're working with, some really cool partnerships that are coming out on this very soon. I don't want to spill the beans straight away, but stay tuned. And then we can also innovate down into the holochain ecosystem and start working with those other organizations in holochain that are building on this kind of mutual credit system. And so that's really cool. And I'd urge you to go to our YouTube channel. Arthur Brock, co-founder at Holochain, and myself had a really fantastic fireside chat around this, and where he explains how this mutual credit system and currency system works within these larger sort of economic systems. Great question, thank you. Wow, it's thirsty work doing these questions. All right, awesome. Question 3. Is it a goal to work with or for governments, as this project potentially solves their biggest electricity network problems? Fantastic question, and you're absolutely right. This project does potentially solve some of their biggest electricity network problems. It doesn't solve everything, but it solves a massive one. And the massive one is that integration of clean energy into our system is incredibly difficult because our grid was never built for it. Now, that's a huge problem that needs to be solved. And we believe that this protocol can go a long way to actually helping solve that problem. So when you ask, do we work with governments? Well, to be honest, at RedGrid, we already work with governments. We've been working on government-funded projects. We've been providing solutions to government-funded initiatives that they need. We actually co-fund research and development with Australian universities that's also using government money. We've obviously worked with universities before that are using government money to do a lot of this work. So we've got some announcements that are coming out in the next 2 weeks, I believe it will be, on the details of our current government-funded project, which is on a neighbourhood battery initiative that is happening with communities here in Australia. So the answer is, yeah, absolutely, we work with governments. We work to help them implement technology that's going to help them solve these electrical network problems. And the reason that's important is that, yes, we advocate a decentralized economy that's going to run this energy system, but we also realize that this is a transition period, and we can't go immediately to full decentralization straight away, and we've got to go through that transition period. And that transition period means a hybrid of fully decentralized technology, essentially our nodes, our agents hosted within those IoT devices, Internet of Things devices at the edge, but also working with centralized players so they can emerge and go through this transition as seamlessly as possible. So absolutely, we super welcome government work with us to deliver and make this an absolute reality. So next question, question 4, what strengths does Iron have to compete with competitors? Fantastic. Great, well, look, firstly, this competition is always something that comes up here, right? And it's natural. It's like, you know, we're working in a competitive landscape. That's great. But to be honest, I don't really see I don't see others working in the energy and crypto space as competitors, because there is so much to solve here. This problems is so big. There are so many different ways that we can solve it that I think actually what we're doing here, and is we're just being part of this this broader movement, which is let's bring energy and crypto together and solve these problems. And so firstly, I think, you know, what people would deem our competitors, they're doing fantastic work, doing really great work around the world, and we absolutely advocate for that. And we actually think that ultimately what will happen is these systems will emerge. There's not really one system that dominates them all. There's going to be a system that starts working with other systems and helping facilitate and support each other. So that's really great. That said, we've got some really strong advantages in the way we think that things could be done in this new energy crypto space. And the first thing is community. So I don't mean communities in like a general community that supports us to buy tokens and things. I mean a genuine community who is working with us to build technology and to deliver that technology. And so we've built our technology 100% to be community first. And so that means that anyone can join Iron and start to play with the Iron technology system, the technology stack, with very little friction. So you just buy and stake some Iron, use our app, and then become part of the virtual microgrid. And that's it. And so that's the first step. Now, of course, after that, we can get smart plugs, we can get smart meters, we can get smart inverters and washing machines and Wi-Fi, and all that kind of stuff. That's fine. But really, everyone's on a different space continuum in this. Some people want to have every single clean energy gadget in their entire house. That's totally cool. Some people don't have the option to have because they live in an apartment and can't get solar panels on a roof or something else, but they want to be part of it. So we are 100% focused on delivering this for community and enabling people wherever they are to be part of this system as it emerges. Second advantage that we have is our technology. Like, we are fundamentally built at a local level on Holochain. I mean, in our credit system on Holochain. It means we can solve local problems and make our technology really locally relevant for where it's needed. And what's really important about this is the mutual credit system is actually very fundamental to understanding how you create reciprocal altruism, which means you start to create new ways of society moving together. So it's not just a highest bidder wins all approach in a market. It's actually a system of integrations and flows of energy and energy use value that enable the entire system to benefit. And that's really, really important. So we don't have a global consensus mechanism at the local level. We have a network of supported nodes that work together and coordinate, and they enable a much better outcome for energy by balancing and enabling more clean energy to come in and saving money for those people than we would have from just a standard transactional trading mechanism where the highest bidder always wins. So we kind of see ourselves a bit like bees in the hive or ants in an ant nest. Those different devices can help each other succeed in their kind of mutual goal. And if you look at our ecology of energy talk from 2019, we were talking about that then, it's still the same story. It is a mutual credit, reciprocal altruism system that enables this to really shift the way we understand crypto and provide some serious innovations in what's going to happen in crypto from this, much as Holochain has provided. And I guess the third one is, we spent the last 3 years building a business, deploying technology, building technology, deploying it, getting in the hands of real people, making it actually work. It's real, it's happening right now. It's actually, you know, prototypes of this are running. We've got it, we've proved it works commercially. And so, yeah, it's like, it's a real thing. It's not just an idea that's out there. And now Iron is here to help supercharge that and provide access to everyone. All right, cool. So, what are your significant achievements till now, and what are your other plans for this year? Okay, cool. So as I said, we kind of worked through this over the last few years to build out our company RedGrid and to develop the underlying principles of the Iron Protocol, and to implement that in real world situations. So we've worked with different United Nations award-winning companies, award-winning projects. We're deploying our technology with one of Australia's leading property developers, and enabling people who are buying their houses and people who are renting houses from them to be part of the clean energy revolution without really having to do too much. Just turn up and live in their house and respond to notifications. So that's a real achievement, I think, you know, and I think, you know, as a small organization who's building and trying to stay ahead, I think the fact that we've actually got out there and delivered stuff, really worked on limited budgets and just really worked hard to make an organization create technology and get it out there is really important. That's a really good achievement. The plans for the rest of this year, of course, TrustSwap, we're launching our token. So we are really excited about launching this token in the first step of opening this technology to the world. We've got a pipeline of amazing DeFi partners who will be announcing over the next few weeks, who are coming in to build that layer 2, layer 3 benefits that Iron's token holders are going to have. And we've got a number of internationally significant companies that we're working with to start to deploy this around the world. So we're in conversation with some of the world's most advanced smart cities. We are really excited about where we can take this, and that's going to be the next 3-4 months, is really working through those partnerships, enabling us to move from the genesis and establishment of the Iron Protocol through our TGE and the development of the token into deployment and initial pilot applications of where this is going to go around the world. After that, we've got some concrete projects that are happening here in Australia. So working with some Neighbourhood Battery Initiative, we're working with some commercial projects on getting it out into households and to project and property developments, as we talked about before. And so we're basically building out those integrations, integrating with more hardware partners, integrating with more homes, doing more testing, working with people on our product. We have an incredible product team, and really the next 6 months is about translating Iron as the token into the bootstrapping of the network and enabling the network to grow through the Iron token provision. Okay, cool. So this is question 6. What difficulties have you encountered during the development of Iron, and how were they solved? Okay. So, okay, so what the difficulties? Well, there's always, whenever you build anything new, there's always difficulties, right? That's the whole thing. It's the old adage that anything that's worth doing is worth doing because it's hard. And so we've been, you know, through product development issues and through pushing how we get our models to work. And actually, now we're kind of in this really interesting place where it's starting to work. And so what's cool about that is, if you look at what we're doing now and you compare it to like the last 150 years of the electrical system, we've had the same electrical system for 150 years. And It's the same old grid to deliver electricity, but now we want to change to a fundamentally new system of renewable energy because it's the cheapest on the planet and because of climate change, but really because it just makes economic sense to do so. We just need the systems now to integrate that. So because there's literally a power station on everyone's roof, we're dealing with a complex fundamental technology issue. And just like Holochain, and Holo is dealing with a fundamental reworking of how hosting works, we're doing a fundamental reworking of how electricity balancing and smart grid integration works. And so painting that picture, like we talk about the metaverse for energy, and and I talked about this with this, what is this? If we had unlimited hosting and unlimited energy, there's always going to be something, if you can do something more productive and more useful with this, there's always going to be a demand for more compute power, there's always going to be a demand for more energy. So how do we deal with that, and how do we build something out that's actually a much better human experience for everyone than just, just the standard, I get my energy and I pay a massive bill every 4 months. So for us, talking to the big energy players and talking about what this metaverse of energy looks like in the future is still challenging, right? It's still a pretty wild idea. But if you look at where crypto is going, and if we look at where the metaverse is going, it's absolutely inexorable that this is what's going to happen. So what we found is that because energy has been locked up with incumbent players for the last 150 years, for such a long time, it's hard to make those decisions and hard to make those choices to change if you're those big organizations. And that's fair enough. We've worked with those big organizations, so we've had commercial contracts with them. We are in constant dialogue with them. And you know what? There's lots of people in those organizations who see this future as well. And so it's just a matter of time as that changes, but it's a challenge to try and deal with that when you're trying to get change to happen faster. We found the fastest way to solve this problem is to approach it from both sides. So start from the bottom up, develop a community of people that support and want to see change in their environment for cleaner, more reliable, secure electricity. And meanwhile, at the same time, work with the incumbents and work with the centralized players and demonstrate the desire from those customers that they want change. And to be honest, when we do that, we find really amazing people all over the place, in big industry and in small industry and in communities who want to see this happen. So what we do is we simply turn up and say, hey, here's some technology that can help make it happen. And that's it. And so that can really help us provide a toolkit to empower communities to change the way they use electricity, but also empower companies and big energy companies to do something different. And that's what's really important. And that helps us overcome some of those challenges of inertia that we see in any economic or industrial transformation. Is always inertia. But then the tipping points happen really rather quickly. And so then you can actually move through quite fast. All right, cool. I guess the last bit on that is that we found real success with the unusual suspects, the people who are not necessarily in energy, but care about it or want to be involved with it. Property development companies, for example, they have customers who want clean energy, efficient houses. So we help them do it. And that's how we're going to shift the system as well and help make a real change. So question 7, there have been many very successful blockchain projects with the same ideas as Iron. So can you tell us the difference between Iron and those projects? Okay, cool. Do you feel confident that Iron will have some of the outstanding features compared to those projects and attract users? Okay, great question. Thank you very much. So Iron brings a bunch of concepts together in really unique ways. So first of all, as I've talked about, we're a hybrid blockchain holochain solution. So we use the best characteristics of each of these to provide an architecture that can breathe and really quickly grow, but also take advantage of the massive amount of innovation that's happening in the blockchain from DeFi and from others. Now, we see ourselves as being able to provide 3 also fundamental shifts in what this is going to look like in blockchain. First of all, that there'll be a metaverse for energy. That energy is a currency that is flowing in our communities, but actually on top of that, there's a bunch of things that people want to be recognized for their role in this transition. We're at a fundamental transition time in human history. Like it's not a joke, and it's not a kind of hyperbole here. Like this really is it. This decade, we've got 9 years, and we're going to go to net zero. That is it. That's the goal. Very rarely has this happened. One of the only other times I think this is probably, there's 2 other times probably this has happened. Firstly, with horse-drawn carts and Henry Ford and the invention of the automobile, right? When people spoke to Henry Ford and they asked him, why didn't you listen to what people wanted? And he said, if I'd asked people what they wanted, they'd have said to me, they want faster horses. And that's a really great quote, because he's basically saying we have to build the future and people will come to it. Now that's important. Now, of course, you have to understand your customer as well. But I think that's one of the fastest transitions. It took maybe 15 years. The other fastest transition was mobile phones, fastest growing, and that's been the fastest growing technology in the history of humankind. And so it's fundamentally reworked people's capacities and human abilities in technology. And we're in this one now, and I've written about this in the journal Nature and others on maybe they were on the sixth Kondratiev cycle, which is basically this wave of economic cycles. And essentially, this could be nanotechnologies, but it most likely is renewable technologies, and we're now in an uptick of where renewable energy technologies that include hardware and software are going to dominate, where economic systems are going to go in the very near future. And so, what we're building under that condition is a huge opportunity for others to be creative and build on top of it. And that's what I mean by the metaverse. There is a virtual and a physical interaction here that's going to change. The second fundamental revolution that we're going to bring into the blockchain system, I think, really is that ability to scale mutual credit, much like Holochain has put forward with Holo, but across these different industries, and to be able to connect mutual credit between different communities that are using this Holochain system. And I think us being, along with Holo and a couple of other projects that Holochain is using and working with, is creating a whole new way of interacting on that. And the third big innovation here, I think, is that when we are considering how society is going to evolve, we are going to be working on parallel systems for a while. What I mean by that is we're working on parallel economic systems right now. We have cryptocurrency and we have fiat, and they're running parallel. Now, what we're seeing is more intersections between those different currencies. We see mainstream companies, Visa, MasterCard, Square, using crypto now. We're going to start to see more of that happening in energy. And what we're going to bring to the blockchain innovation and Holochain innovation space is, what does it look like to do real things and then re-import that into the blockchain space? And so what does it mean, like, as in real things, as in what do I do with my real energy? Can I create new economic paradigms with the energy that I got because of the blockchain, and then reinsert that into the blockchain in a new way that shapes the way people interact with each other? And for example, we already proved one of these things back in 2018 in our project with SolShare in Bangladesh, and transferring energy value from Germany to Bangladesh. And so people with excess solar in Germany managed to donate some of that solar to specific people in Bangladesh. And so what's important about that is that it showed how there can be these virtual communities that exist through these new currencies like energy. So I'm really excited about where that can go. All right. The other part here, a second part that attracting users, is our token model is fundamentally about bootstrapping the network. So the token, you get paid to be a validator, be paid to use your proof of balance in your node. The architecture enables a bootstrapping of that. We've got a staking mechanism that enables you to make money as you're holding your credits. And that enables us to unlock funding for people-centric energy projects around the world. And so there's some really interesting things there that are going to happen that are quite different to how other people are approaching this in the blockchain space. We're fundamentally focused on bootstrapping a network and rolling a network out. The other part here is really nice innovation is our macro DAO and our mini DAOs. So ultimately, the Internet of Energy network, and that's why it's called a network, not an organization, is going to become a DAO. It's definitely not right now, but it will over time, hopefully a bit faster than some of the others, but we really hope that's going to happen because that's what we're putting into place. And so we think there's a really great innovation there at a macro level. IAM becomes a DAO, but also at the IOEC level, these are a bunch of mini DAOs. And so those DAOs are basically governed by the code according to local conditions and rules and regulations and what those communities want to see. So that's a really cool innovation, because it means we start to move away from humans having to control everything, but actually get a really nice autonomous system that is going to give us a fantastic kind of outcome for those communities. So mini DAOs, macro DAOs, fantastic. I think the other part here, what do you say here, for attracting users? Yeah, cool. Okay, so one of the big things for attracting users here is that we are focused on deploying solutions that can work at local levels. And what I mean by that is, what happens with Iron is we create a platform on which people can develop and build, like other developers can build on this, and they can provide applications that other people can then use. And so what that means is a local developer can provide a local application to help the battery in my village, Or someone in Canada or in Azerbaijan could build develop an app that then I use in my village. It doesn't matter where they are. They can all build and use it host it on this network and run it through this network. So what this means is lots of people experience energy problems in very similar ways and some in very different ways. There's going to be people who come up with solutions that we haven't even thought of that will be able to run on the ION network and help other people overcome their energy issues. And that for me is one of the most exciting things about this. It's not about us doing everything ourselves. It's us building a platform or protocol. It's open source that other people can build on. And to be honest, that's the most exciting bit that's really going to happen here. It's the 1,000 flowers bloom ideas I approach. There's going to be a whole bunch of ideas on this. Some will work, some won't work, but some will be so amazing and transformative that the people their lives are going to change because of it. Probably not from us, but we'll have built the protocol that enables them to happen. I think that's probably a great way to finish this in terms of attracting users. At RedGrid, we build fantastic tools and really easy to use applications that sit on top of this so people can use them and they can buy them as a commercial project. Fantastic. But at ION, we've got an open source, not-for-profit organization that is going to deliver an open source protocol to help people balance their energy, manage their energy in a better way, and avoid climate change, cut our emissions down, enable more clean energy to come onto the grid. And because of that, and the most fundamental bit about this is it's the cheapest energy forms in the world. And if we have a system that can stabilize it and integrate it into our grids, we therefore have a stable, secure, clean, affordable energy source for the future for everybody. That is a fantastic place to be and a fantastic mission to work on if we're going to solve these problems in the next 9 years. So thank you, TrustSwap community. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for jumping in. Thank you for supporting ION. Grab your tokens. Good luck in the whitelisting competition. We want you on this mission with us. We cannot wait for you to be part of this. I think it's going to be huge. It's going to be really exciting. So join us and thank you for having us. And now you can see what I would like to spend my free energy on, which is play my guitar after we finish. So you've seen Mike do his intro. He's playing his guitar. I haven't played my guitar yet, but I probably will at some point. Yeah, I'm excited to see how we can build this thing together and do all this kind of stuff on energy that we absolutely love to do as human beings. All right, thanks everybody, and jump on the pad. Look forward. Jump on the launch pad. Jump on everything here. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Telegram. Jump in there. DM us, DM Harry if you want to be part of the community and be an ambassador. We've got an ambassadors program going, loads of cool stuff happening. Man, we've got airdrops happening, the stickers, there's loads of things happening. Jump in, jump on, get involved. Cannot wait to see you. Thank you so much.